everyone to a beautifully sunny Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. This is Chair Catherine Harrington. I'm joined by 3 of the 4 district commissioners thus far, Commissioner Jerry Willey, Commissioner Nafisa Fai, Commissioner Jason Snyder, Commissioner Pam Treese will be joining us shortly. Thank you all for accommodating schedules today. So we'll dive right into our first topic, Fairgrounds Master Plan, quick review, and Ballfields update.
Good morning, Chair Harrington, Commissioners. My name is Leah Perkins-Hagley, and I am the venue, my chair's weird too, the venue manager at Westside Commons. Joining me is my colleague, Greg Wyman, the Facilities Division Manager. We are here this morning to provide information on the proposed partnership with the City of Hillsborough regarding the Fairgrounds Ballfields. The Ballfields are county-owned property that are operated by the City of Hillsborough under a long-term lease agreement that began in 1975. All right. The proposal from the city would impact parts of the board-approved Fairgrounds Master Plan. So today we are taking the opportunity to bring you back up to speed and offer a brief historical recap of the Fairgrounds Master Plan. In the early 2000s, the Fairgrounds began a master planning process to revitalize the Fairgrounds into a modern multi-use venue to meet the needs of the community. Approved in 2008, the master plan's major cornerstone was construction of a state-of-the-art event and conference center, now known as the Wingspan Event and Conference Center, which began construction in 2018 and was completed in December of 2020. In 2018, with Wingspan construction underway, the county began the process to update the master plan to ensure community alignment. Over the nearly 2-year planning period, approximately 4,200 county residents participated in a variety of ways, including surveys and in-person public meetings, and the result is an updated 3-phase master plan that is deeply rooted in community priorities. Here we go. The updated master plan was adopted by your board in 2019, and at this time, there is not a funding strategy in place to move any part of the plan forward. Your turn, Mr. Wyman.
Quick question though.
Back
on the funding strategy.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't a strategy to approach it, but there was a funding estimate for each of the pieces. Can you remind me what the dollars, were they 2019 dollars?
They were $2019, yes. And we've talked about escalation a couple of times in the last couple of years, and we can get you updated escalated prices.
No, it's okay. I just needed the reminder of what dollars they were.
There you go.
Thank you, Leah. For the record, my name is Greg Wyman. I'm the Facilities Division Manager here at Washington County. I'm going to speak briefly today about the City of Hillsborough's potential partnership on the development of this master plan. Some of the things to consider would be a revised study and redelineation of the wetlands that would be required as part of the development out here, a revenue IGA for development of the ball fields, and consideration for funding or development of an RV park, required utility services and other county build out to be defined. Brief conversations with the City of Hillsborough, they are willing to participate in a form or fashion that the county would see fit for development of this master plan. This is a concept plan, again, provided to us by the City of Hillsborough of how they would develop the ball fields if we were able to enter into that IGA, and just a concept of what the RV park could look like, again, not sanctioned by the county at this time.
In phase 3 of the master plan, an 80-stall RV park with an overflow parking lot is envisioned, and it would replace the ball fields. So in the master plan, the ball fields would go away and an RV park and parking lot would be in its place. To retain the ball fields operated by the City of Hillsborough for the community benefit and move the RV park from phase 3 to phase 1, the master plan would need to be amended by your board. Some considerations are the RV park would be a benefit to the community, retains the ball fields for community use, generates revenue for Westside Commons, generates transient lodging tax, and I guess that's it. And a great partnership with the city.
Can you comment on how that may be, like the presence of the RV park may be synergistic to bring events to the Wingspan that wouldn't otherwise? Is that a real thing, or am I just sort of?
I would say it's a kind of a real thing.
Oh,
There,
hopeful.
there are events that would like to have RV parking in order to participate. There's also events that would bring tourism into the city of Hillsborough and the county, such as tournaments at the Ballfields, the proposed Ballfields, and those heavily rely on RV parking, which would be a benefit to the county.
So next steps, if the board approves, staff would negotiate with the city of Hillsborough to define the terms and conditions of an IGA and the participation that the county would desire from the city of Hillsborough and the, again, financial terms of that. Staff would return with proposals and the detail and benefit to the county for leadership, for the Board of County Commissioners approval of next steps after that.
So, I'm having a slightly difficult time, following all of this. This is a first stop to see if this is something, an opportunity we want to approve. But I believe if we do wish to do so, it's essentially a one-way trip from here. And so if I heard you correctly, the two concept plan slides are from the city of Hillsborough.
Correct.
So I realize the slideshow just came to us today, but they're not labeled as such. So
We'll update them.
that part's different. What I wasn't real psyched about the fact that given that the slideshow, we didn't get a heads up there would even be a slideshow. So I was like, wait a minute, you're going to do all this verbally? That's not really going to work for me. And after a while, I was like, I'm just not going to wade through all of this. I'll just ask questions. So here are my questions. For the master plan, what I'm really interested in is how the number of stalls compare between the master plan that was adopted and what the concept plan is.
So the negotiations were for 100 stalls originally.
And the master plan has 80 stalls approved in the master plan.
And this design has, I think it's 82.
Sorry,
Has what?
I think the concept plan, sorry, let me pull it back up. You're right, it's not labeled and it should be. The concept plan, I believe, is 89 stalls. So it would exceed the approved master plan number of RV stalls.
Yeah, okay. Then also, some of what you've highlighted here, just to make sure I'm clear on, is back on slide 5, it would require the redelineation of the wetlands. Okay. Revenue IGA for development of the ball fields. And then what I'm trying to understand from the full bullet, the third bullet is, are we going to end up with just a partnership where only the ball fields and the wetland is done, but the RV park's not? So from my standpoint, there needs to be a give and a get here. And so the RV park, as it's being referred to, needs to be built out as well. But I'm wondering, since I can't tell what the little brown thing is, generally RV parks also have,
Shower facilities, bathroom and shower facilities.
yes, and also, I assume that with Scoggins campground, that will be utilizing the state registration system, which many publicly owned campgrounds do. So I don't know what system you would be looking out for there. I want to make sure that you figure that out before construction starts. But if I don't ask, then the unsaid is undone.
I appreciate all of that. There has been a discussion about a shared restroom facility and site management facility at the site for the ball fields and for the RV. We really are very early in this process because we didn't want to get in front of the board. So we do not have any signed agreements. We've had some conversations, and for the ease of other commissioners who haven't been here as long, these conversations, I think, have been going on and off for about 10 years at this point. So this is also not terribly new, except for there is funding and interest from the city of Hillsborough today because of other arrangements they have in other sites.
Well, and we've had the opportunity to read articles in the
Totally.
newspaper where there's community concern that the number of ball fields because of their new concert baseball complex aren't as available. So I have no problem with the fact that there is an opportunity here, and let's pursue it. The part that I had to work through is I don't want anyone to think that we've got funds to make this RV park happen now, because through the master plan, this is not the top priority. There are multiple buildings there that have either been torn down or aren't in the best of shape. And I think through the master plan, there was a big prioritization effort done there. And we really need to put some muscle behind that at some point in the not too distant 10 plus years. So, but from my standpoint, I know I'm being the most vocal here right now. I am totally fine with moving forward, but recognizing that the city of Hillsborough is really going to be having to shoulder the cost on this one. But other commissioners?
I think that's true, and we also, I hope, want to maintain some level of design input, control, et cetera, and make sure it meets our needs. To that end, a more general question, will these RV spaces include full hookups, electric and?
One of the issues that we've had at the site has been getting the utilities at the size and diameter that we would need going into the space. So we have had initial conversations with them for having sufficient hookups for things like the sewer and for electrical.
Okay, I mean, to me, those are things that should be probably specified in the agreement. The usability of it will be highly dependent on that. As I look at the concept plan, I know it's just a concept, but when I look at the design of it, the way it appears to be sited now, there's restrooms in a multi-use area that is absolutely furthest from where tent camping would happen, which, again, I know it's a concept plan, but like, I would hope that this is designed a little more thoughtfully around the camping uses. I'm actually glad there's a few tent spaces. I think that's a good thing, but having the people with no actual bathroom being the furthest from the bathrooms doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I would hope some of those kinds of things could be worked through the process as well. I'm generally supportive. I think getting it done and having the amenity is worth a lot for the community.
We've been, Jason, I was mayor when this first came about. The county came to the city of Hillsborough and said, help us design this. And by the time we got through design, the cost had escalated 3 times. And so it was shelved. So there's probably a plan still at the city of Hillsborough someplace. I don't recall how many spots there were, but I know it was a little over the top fancy. Every parking spot had a natural gas fire pit.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
Um,
That's sort of next level.
little Taj Mahal-y stuff there. But this is, from my standpoint, this has been something that the county is, I mean, the county doesn't have any RV camping parking spots. And now we're looking at two of them and I think they're going to be very, very popular.
In this round, is the city of Hillsborough coming to the county? Or-
Yeah,
Okay. I want to be clear about what order that's happening into.
Assistant Administrator is actually here, Raheem. Raheem, you can wait. Just because he's been working with us over the last, I think even before I came here, so for the last year to try and figure out what may be amenable.
Yeah, and the ball fields are certainly an integral part of the whole development of that entire space. And if you've driven by there recently, it down by, what is that, 29th, the tennis courts down there, that area is really not very attractive looking. And also, there's some great things that could be put in there. So I'm really excited about us moving ahead and considering this development.
Commissioner, By, anything?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Harrington. Thank you for doing this presentation. And are you ready for your easiest question? Okay. I want to say I do support moving forward with this and looking forward to further discussions to fully be engaged. Here's the easiest question for you this morning. Could you help me understand or sort of reconcile the master plan diagram slide and then the concept plan diagram?
Sure. In the master plan slide, you'll see number 9 down at the bottom. And that is the concept RV park, the 80 slot RV park from the approved master plan. And then 14 is the overflow parking, and then the rest of it was green space in the approved master plan. So if we go fast forward to the concept plan, you'll see that where the RV is here, that is the number 9 spot in the master plan.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That was an easy question.
I have a light rail access question. I guess I know this area and I've been on the site, but I have not studied the light rail access component. So is there a way to make sure that people coming to and from this part of the venue have easy access both from the ball fields and from the camping sites?
There is a TriMet stop adjacent to where the RV park is proposed to be. And that is a major component for the red line as well as the blue line that comes all the way out here to Washington County.
I'd like
They
to,
just need to walk to the north side of the property.
and then around.
Yeah, it's not that far.
I would like to make sure that's a design element that's required.
And
that there be good access.
And there's currently to the existing ball fields, there's access directly from TriMet to the ball field
Okay.
currently.
To light rail, not just, okay.
Yeah, on the top part of that, Jason, is a wide street.
I don't have good.
Veterans Drive, and they have wide sidewalks that take you right up and around.
Okay.
So there's already pretty good access there.
So in this slide here, you'll note the TriMet stop that's kind of cut off, but you can see it up in the upper right-hand corner of the slide. That is TriMet's stop right there on the light rail. And it's fully developed with sidewalks along Veterans Way.
The Washington County Fair does offer RV access, right, to the participating vendors.
So currently we don't have an RV park. So we do have during the county fair itself, the fair does have what we call dry RV parking. So the livestock folks and the vendors do dry RV parking. This will be a big benefit to the users of the fair as well.
So in terms of next steps, we're saying we want to move forward. You talked about staff will return with proposals that detail the benefit to the county. Will that be before or after you have Ms. Angie would be approving the contract for this sort of thing? I don't know if we have to approve the IGA or not. That's a question. But this detail of benefit to the county.
Would be in advance of us signing any agreement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And part of that is, and I believe it was you, Chair, that had asked the question on the phases of improvements in the master plan. I do want to highlight that, but for Hillsborough coming forward with the money that they have, we would not be coming before you today with this being the first priority within the project. So what staff will also be working on is what after this, if there's successful negotiations with Hillsborough, because we will have users of West Side Commons. I fully expect our 4-H partners asking, what does this mean to other building improvements and the execution on the fairgrounds? And so it is, yes, about the ball field and RV parking, and this is also about how do we execute on the full master plan vision.
And if I may just add to that, this is about revenue as well. So us having a revenue generating source for some of these other amenities.
But if someone else or some other organization were to come with a full funding model to bring another phase forward, I'm sure we'd be open to that discussion too, right?
We have absolutely,
Yes.
sure, and we still do to all of our partners that we work with at West Side Commons that we are very open to any partnership.
And I just want to make sure, since we've had quite the 6+ year journey with regard to contracts and negotiations, that you have the copy of the 1975 lease agreement, that it gets updated as part of this whole process.
Yep.
You know, contracts for construction go through your good, healthy process.
We like to call that Greg's really good. And he is pretty incredible.
No
at
pressure
these
here.
things.
Screw this up, Greg.
You got it.
Okay, terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
So that's all your costs,
Yeah.
all your faces.
Yeah, I know, I remember
Yeah.
we
it's-
did a
it's
lot of this, I just couldn't remember what dollars.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah. Yep. All righty, so we're gonna move on then to board and leadership communication. Who would like to go first? Oh, okay. Sure.
I sent you an email about, yesterday was a WCCC meeting as your board rep. And as usual, it was very well attended and everyone was there. But I sent you an email about the RUFA bond scenario. We don't need, I realized that I said in the email that the board could weigh in. And I think Commissioner Willie, we have time. JPAC is happening not this week, next week. So we have a time to sort of take the information I shared with you and come back next week, and then I can revisit as well. But we do need to vote at JPAC next Thursday. And we will be voting for the best scenario for Washington County as your rep. And then, so basically, just to give you a little background, yesterday, WCCC meeting included the discussion about the REFA Step 1 bonding scenario. The Washington County TPAC representative gave an overview of the discussion that took place at TPAC around the proposed scenario. The assumed top limit for the bond is 84 million. There are 5 remaining projects being considered for bond funding, including the 82nd Avenue Transit Project, TV Highway Transit Project, the Sunrise Corridor Gateway Project, and then of course the Burnside Bridge, and then the Montgomery Park Street Extension. So Metro staff put together 8 funding scenarios for consideration. Scenario 6 through 8 includes the full 30 million requested for TV highway. The Washington County staff requested 30 million to for a TV highway. So that's the scenario 6 is where it starts, where we get the best. Scenario 1 through 4 allocate funding to all the projects in a varying amounts. And then scenario 5 is a regionally distributed allocation for funding for 82nd and TV Highway and Sunrise Corridor. Then scenario 6 is focused on leveraging and would fund 82nd Avenue, TV Highway, Burnside Bridge, and then the Montgomery Park. Scenario 7 would fund only 82nd Avenue and TV Highway. Scenario 8 would only fund 3 CIG projects, which of course of 82nd TV Highway and Montgomery. Now, here's where why I'm bringing it to the board. Washington County TPAC representative proposed a new scenario, scenario 9, that would mirror scenario 7 to fund only 82nd Avenue project and the TV Highway project, but at the full bond amount split between them. So 84, if that is the top bond, it would just go to those two projects. And this would fund each of those projects at 42 million each. WCC members expressed strong support for this proposed scenario. So the board, we need to figure out if scenario 9 is where we go in and say, we would make at JPAC, we would make an amendment to the motion and say we would recommend scenario 9 to be considered and go forth. So in general, the Washington County transportation staff support any of the scenarios except 1 and 2 because they don't provide the full money that we requested. And as an FYI, TriMet seems to favor scenarios 6 and 8, and Multnomah and Clackamas County reps seem to favor scenarios that diversify projects and maximize allocation. So scenario 1 to 5. So that's a lot of information. You have it in your inbox. I can come back next Tuesday and checkpoint, but we do need to weigh in as a board rep so that we vote in whether scenario 9 or as a board we decide to say
Something else.
something else.
All right, so you want us to check back in next Tuesday?
Yeah, because I think before the meeting started, Commissioner Willie expressed that we need more time.
There's a lot of data there. So, and I'm not in the mainstream of all of those things like Nafisa is. And so I just need to have some time to digest.
I'd like to call up Stephen and Jessica, please.
Dun, dun, dun.
So there are two things rattling around in my head. Been around the block before with regard to the JPAC table. Let's review the list of 5. 82nd Avenue, whose jurisdiction is this mostly?
Primarily in Multnomah County, City of Portland, and about a third, I believe, of the project is in Clackamas County.
TV Highway, we're pretty familiar with. Sunrise Gateway.
Clackamas County.
Burnside Bridge.
Portland, Multnomah.
Montgomery Park.
Portland.
Yep. So there's not only jurisdictional interest, but there will be some community members active and advocating for different projects. So there are two things. One is if we don't weigh in until next Tuesday, you've got all of a day to work the politics. Good luck with that. Secondly, there are other stakeholder groups that are going to be active with their jurisdictional reps and other reps and sending advocacy emails out. So I haven't heard any reference to that and working all of that. Informationally, though, technically, what is the base level of funding that Washington County would need from the region in order to move forward with the TV highway project?
Yeah, the $30 million scenario. So I think that was 3 through 8,
Mhm.
all provide $30 million for TV highway. So from our perspective at the staff level, we see any of those being an acceptable alternative and maybe don't need to get too involved in the discussion about how other funds get distributed.
Yep, we're on board communication. So,
Can I just follow, number 9, so you said 3 through 8.
Where did scenario
does-
9 come
Where
from?
does, yeah.
okay, scenario 9 is one that Washington County basically is a collective WCCC Tech is creating. I think it's a waste of our time. There is no way that Multnomah County is going to let the Burnside Bridge project not get funding through this bonding. And that's where we really need to make sure that we know minimally what we're looking for politically, and then everything from there is upside. So I think while there is time for further board discussion next week, I think we need to be pretty clear this week that we need to make sure TV highway as at a minimum gets 30 million and go from there in terms of where things end up. So that's,
So we just weigh in saying, just make sure we get our 30, so 3 through 8, and
I'm
let the rest of them figure out
I'm
the
thinking
rest.
about our conversation,
Mhm.
not how to play it all through the game of politics that is going on now through the vote. Okay? So,
So your recommendation would, so the conversation that Nafisa was proposing and that I was asking for is delayed till next Tuesday. You're saying that's too late? We need to be doing something else, or?
I think it's too late. So, which is why I wanted to bring us back to the political reality that this stuff is happening now. And we need to be clear on what our minimum is. That doesn't mean that we have to have our, final and maximum figured out,
Mhm.
but very clear on,
We should be resolute on the 30 million.
yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, if that's the conversation and decision we make today, I'm perfectly fine with that, because that's what I was gonna go through, is to see where the 30 million might disappear. So, yeah, if we want to do whatever, thumbs up or whatever, on making sure the 30 million is designated for TV highway, I'm perfectly fine with that.
And I would just remind your board, we'll be meeting with you at 1 o'clock today to talk more about the TV highway project and the funding strategy. So that'll give a sense of how this $30 million is really a critical component of that local share of the funding.
Is there a political reason to keep scenario 9 on the table?
So scenario 9 is basically scenario 7. It's just that Metro staff proposed scenario 7 at a $60 million threshold because that was what was asked for by those applications. And scenario 9 would just ask for it to be funded at the maximum bond level and split between the two projects. And I think that was the idea with that one.
I just don't think that's regionally acceptable.
It's not palatable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's going to be a tough sell.
Yeah.
No, I think there needs to be a project for each of the 3 counties, essentially, and the cities within. I don't need to be the one that decides who, nor do we need to be the ones to decide what it is for Clackamas or what it is for Portland and Multnomah County,
Mhm.
but just accept that there is gonna be one.
So we can maybe have this conversation a little bit further this
Yeah.
afternoon in the.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, well, that's good for me.
And the work that was done with Get Moving 2020 really laid the groundwork for projects around the region. that had priority at that time. So I assume we will see that reflected. Do you agree or?
Yeah, the projects, at least the three potential CIG, the federally funded project opportunities were all included in the 2020 measure proposal.
I guess I have a need to see that keep
Mhm.
the work worthwhile.
Yes, it continues. Yeah.
Great. Well, we'll see you some more this afternoon.
Thank you all.
And feel free to look at stuff before then too. Who's next? 1, 2, 3.
I can go. Uh, Commissioner Fye and I both attended the Welcome Home Coalition movie screening last Wednesday night. That was really good. The conversation after was even more valuable. I met with CWS CEO on Thursday morning and also had a tour of the Scoggins Valley Park. We were all at our board work session for CWS on Friday. Monday, and this is a point I want to highlight, I did have a one-on-one yesterday with Mayor Rosner, and it got me thinking based on conversations I had with him, and I just want to share my evolving thoughts as this relates to the budget and the work that we all have to do. You know, his request was pretty simple that if we're talking about the library and MSTIP and the jail, those are all things that affect most or all of the cities in a fairly substantial way. And so I think this is a fair ask. His ask is just that we try to be on those three subjects collaborative in the budget process because it has very direct impacts on them. So I listened to that. I just thought I'd share that as I don't know that it's a brand new thought, but I think it's a fair thought and something we should be continuing to think about. And he's not asking for that somehow special for Sherwood, just that there region-wide be collaboration around that. And he also mentioned and appreciated the discussion about WCCLS that I think happened at the chair mayor's meeting yesterday as well. So just some thoughts on that to share. The later this week,
Did you remind him that that's one reason why we're having different forums?
I sure did. I even gave him the dates and
Thank you.
told him what we were trying to do, and yeah, that this is a two-way street and that we're looking for feedback as well. And so, yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Later this week, I'm meeting with a group of community members that have asked to meet with me, who I've never, I don't think, met with before. So that'll be interesting. And then I'm spending Valentine's Day with Commissioner Willie in a one-on-one. And Fair Harrington, both. That's my Valentine's Day treat.
We set the bar really low.
I knew when I made my notes on this, I knew that it would be a chuckle.
Oh, I better go get some
I
chocolate.
think
huh?
This is my attempt at some humor. Saturday, there's the Senator White Town Hall that I'll be attending. It looked like Commissioner Fye, you're planning to go as well. And then next Monday, I've got a meeting with OSU Extensions. They would like to show me some things, talk about things.
Monday is a holiday, federal holiday. I have to remind myself of it.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, well, I will go to give time to Commissioner Treese, who arrived late anyway, to catch up.
Yes, I did.
Can we
So-
see those needles?
So as you can see, I have this wonderful scarf on today. This is the celebration of 175th anniversary of Pacific University. And Pam and Nafisa and I all went. It was a great event, and it was the president, university president did a great job of just talking about education, some of the issues that they're having. But a particular note to me was that all the universities are losing attendance. And the reason why is because there's this general thought that the cost of college doesn't give you any return on investment over a lifespan. So yeah, that's where our workforce development programs are going to have to be really strong. And I think there's a lot of conversation about that too. But anyway, it was a great event. It was at the Research and they did a good job. And everybody got a scarf. So, you know, there, go Boxers.
I can hardly wait to see what you're going to pull out for our 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence.
No?
2026, July 4th.
Okay, I'll see if I can give that some more thought. Sure, you'll have something, Chair, though, so I'll have to really up my game.
Do I look like I'm celebrating 175 years?
No, but you look like you're celebrating.
So, also, I had the Fair Board meeting last week where we looked over, of course, the financials and got a snapshot of the fair coming up. We also reviewed the budget with Leah that Lee had presented. And I believe that we are willing to, she told her to submit it on to the next level or whatever, and that we were okay with that. CWS board leadership last week was great. So thank you for all the work that you put in on that. I want to give Erin Doyle a shout out too. She was at the Washington County Public Affairs Forum yesterday at noon. I went there with her. It's a small group. There was probably 15 people there, but she did a great job of presenting the legislative process and where legislature is right now and some of the issues with the long session that's going to be coming up. So, but yeah, I just want to say, Erin, good job. Thank you for that.
Is the group still the same?
Is that what?
Is that group still the same?
Yeah, basically, yeah. They're aging right along with us. I will say that.
Ahead of us.
So let's see, also spoke with State Rep Sosa yesterday, and thank you, Pablo and Carly and Aaron for briefing me in advance on that. And that was a primary focus of the conversation, was saying thank you for his support of the 1.25 million courthouse funding ask. He has initiated that bill, so I said thank you for that. And it was a good conversation with the mayors yesterday. Lisa did a great job of making the presentation that we got last week to the mayors. There was a lot of questions about that, but we continue to, I guess, communicate what the important stuff on the levy and certainly some of the cost-cutting issues that we've been talking about for collection. So she's doing a great job of communicating, I think, with the mayors and with the library directors and everybody else that's involved in this. Tonight is I have Seven Barrel Trail Foundation. We will be in person for the first time for a while. We're meeting at the Explore Tualatin Valley boardroom there that was offered to us. Have the first meeting tomorrow of the CWS Audit Committee. And then, of course, COPAC and Northwest Act is this Thursday. It conflicts with our roundtable, so I'm trying to figure out, A, if the weather's going to allow me to go to Bay City to do this, and B, if possible, I will be in Bay City for the 9 o'clock start of our roundtable, and COPAC starts at 10, so I'll at least have that first hour. So that's all I got.
My turn. So last Wednesday, I attended my first Work Systems Inc. Executive Committee meeting, and those happen monthly. It was really consumed by the federal announcements, as you can imagine. So that was a lot of the talk around, the total impact and also the strategies in relationship to how we're going to deal, we being Work Systems Inc., with delegation and who has contacts where, that type of thing. They're also moving. So it's been kind of a crazy week for them. The other piece that we discussed is the, they call it NOB, and it's the the annual trip for WSI to DC that I will be participating in on March 29th through the 1st. Then Thursday morning, I made it to the West Side Economic Alliance Transportation committee meeting. The main topic there was MISTIP, and Jessica and Stephen did a great job. I think it was extremely informative. I think that it appeared to me that the original purpose was to look at the auditor's report, and we got to that, but it was more at the end. I think that the historical perspective and the fact that we could talk about what the needs are, what the programs are, was really well received. So you guys did a good job. And I piped in on fairly frequently, actually, because former Commissioner Rogers was in the meeting and talked a little bit about the need to continue MSTIP at the level that we previously held it to. And I talked about the fact that those rules were set in motion in 1997, and we're not dealing with the same issues now that we were dealing with then. And so there was at least trying to set the stage that our budget is very difficult. We have rising costs in all aspects, and we need to be looking at how do we make efficiencies and make choices across the board.
But you are right. We do continue to strive to put as much funding into the program.
Well, and that I think you two probably remember, I did say that I had a lot of respect for the previous commissions as they and we continue to focus on the value of MSTIP, which is, that's what, I believe that's what we do.
You
So
are far more forgiving than I am.
I don't know about
I do have a problem with there not being a CIP. I do have a problem with our having the critical facilities problems, and I do have a problem with how the ERP need was delayed for so long, and I do have a problem with the lack of planning for an expanded jail. So yeah, the decrepit nature of the county. Yeah, I do have a problem with what we were gifted.
That may not,
It doesn't cloud my judgment at all.
point of honesty.
I better buy more chocolate for that meeting, Jason.
Is that a new Robert's Rules of Order, a point of honesty?
Disclosure.
Yeah.
Okay, so then after that, the whole day was pretty packed. I went out to the Oregon City area to tour the Metro South transfer station, and I did that as part of my role on RWAC. It's always fascinating to see those places. And a little tidbit that I didn't know, I'm sure, like all of you here, I put my batteries in where I have garbage and recycling pickup. I put my batteries in a quart-sized bag, and I put it in with the bottles in my little yellow tub. So, and I can do that periodically, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize that at the South Metro Transfer Station, there is a person, probably several, that go through those batteries one by one to determine if it's lithium, if it's alkaline, whatever. It's incredibly time intensive. So it was really interesting to see that. But the dangers of the lithium battery in the system are so great that they have to make sure that they take care of that.
Isn't that the ones that start the fires?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're looking at things like, the arms that come out and lift your garbage up. Can they be outfitted with lithium detectors and all this new technology? But it was,
Don't be buying any of those musical greeting cards. They have lithium batteries.
well, and the other thing that they talked about is that, for example, I did not realize that that was a source of lithium battery.
You betcha.
Nor do you realize when you buy a toy or something where the battery's embedded and there's no warning sign, there's nothing there. So it was, I'm sure there were other takeaways as well, but that was particularly.
I'm taking back that Valentine's card I bought for you then, Chair.
Yeah, that's true.
Sang a song to
That
you,
dancing card.
so anyway.
But I'm on the lookout for those. I enjoy the card, and wear it out, and then I take the battery out and dispose of it properly.
Properly. So now you're not off the hook.
Oh,
Good luck with that. Uh,
It startled my husband the first time he saw it. He's like, "Oh, I guess you like that card a lot, huh? Taking the battery out. Don't buy any more of these cards, please. Let me too, honey."
So,
You're-
and from there at Oregon City, I went down to the Hilton to the installation of Dr. Edward Kimmy as honorary consul of Korea. That was really a good, that was a good community event. It was very special. Then I drove from there over to the Reser and went to the Pacific University celebration with Nafisa and Jerry.
On the road with Commissioner
Yeah, that's right. So it was nice to have a Friday where I just sat in one place, and great job with the training day. I appreciate always those interactions. I did talk to Dr. Michael Panhorse yesterday. I've talked to Ann Ober about this. This is about Five Oaks Museum and about there's an inventory that he let me know about. I talked to Ann about it, and we are aware of the need to upgrade the software so that we at least have knowledge of what the inventory is. So I've already talked to Ann. It was an interesting interaction. Yesterday we had the third Metro Oregon. I'm sorry.
Decide which one of those you're going to do.
You do AOC Ledge?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do this one. We had the third Oregon Metro Regional Solutions meeting. It was interesting. We're trying to pick our topic, and we're being led down a path about the Willamette River, and there are some of us that are saying, no, we need to talk about workforce development. We need to have a strategy around this. So we'll see how that all pans out.
Cool. Great. First on my list, AOC Ledge Committee. We're back to the raucous meeting days. Political divergence times are back again versus focusing on the county nexus point of comparison. So through the various steering committee slates, I think every single one of them had at least one bill pulled from the slate and questioned. So it was interesting to see how one bill went from being useful for getting kids back into public schools to calling into questions, was that about diversity, equity, and inclusion? And then another one getting pulled, just calling other politics into order. So we're back to where we were during President Trump's first administration. And we're going to have to do work to try to continue as it was expressed yesterday. Where's the county nexus here? Where's the county nexus? So it just means we have to stay actively involved and present. So we have to make sure the board of directors gets our District 8 rep installed sooner rather than later. Boy, AOC really dropped the ball on that one. As mentioned, thank you, Commissioner Willie. The chair mayor monthly meeting was yesterday. I appreciated Lisa Tattersall's continued excellence, but also Commissioner Willie being there as he and Commissioner Treese are on our board liaisons on that program. And then lastly, I wanted to mention the SHS Oversight Committee meeting. They have completed their year 3 report. I wish it would say year 3 on the front. It doesn't, but I write it in
What does it
every
say?
year. It says FY 23-24.
I think it's very important that they would put year 3 on there too, but that's not going to happen.
You have 10.
Yeah, really. My I do, though, have continued frustration in the lack of transparency to the committee. So, for example, the Metro President's Work Group was spoken to versus why don't they just provide the same invitation that is provided to all the jurisdiction? I mean, it just, they're not even spoon feeding the Oversight Committee and TCPB in a diligent fashion. And that just rubs me wrong from an integrity standpoint. So, but I'll let it go. Next week, I am working remotely Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but I am fully available. And then after that, Friday through the following week and Sunday, I am on vacation, though I will be attending remotely the first President's Work Group meeting. We still have no word on who the reps are, both reps from Clackamas and Multnomah County. I don't know about city reps from those other counties, but from Washington County, it'll be Mayor Tim Rosner and Mayor Lacey Beatty. So that's all I got. And then we're into March already. Whew. How did that happen? But anyway, so that means while I'm on vacation, you'll have all kinds of snow events.
That's not funny.
Just letting you know. So let's go to the really good stuff. Leadership communication.
Well, I'm actually good morning, board. I'm actually going to change the order because you teed up winter weather. So, straight from John Wheeler, we are watching the weather forecast closely as a warm front is expected to approach from the south on Thursday. This warm air and moisture is expected to overtake the cold air already in place, potentially causing snow and then freezing rain to form on roadways throughout Northwest Oregon, including here in Washington County. Freezing rain can make travel challenging, so land use and transportation road crews will be working round the clock starting at 4 a.m. on Thursday. Crews began putting down magnesium chloride, an anti-icing agent yesterday, and will continue as long as the dry weather holds. Housing staff activated our 2 severe shelters earlier this week. 69 people and 6 pets stayed in these shelters last night. The severe weather shelters supplement the county's emergency shelter program, which currently offers 400 beds to meet a variety of household needs. Assistant County Administrator Ann Ober will be meeting with facilities, LUT, and communications team each morning. I will underscore at 5 a.m. beginning this Thursday to determine whether facility closures of county buildings may be required to support the safety of our employees and public. So there is your winter weather update. And that is consistent during weather. Just for board's awareness, we meet at 5 a.m. And it is a review of what has happened the last night and also expected. Commissioner Snyder, for your information, we also work very closely with the courts on closures because the courts as a state entity, we want to make sure there's alignment as much as possible, thinking of our systems of service. Tomorrow, and this is related to public safety, wanted to give you a heads up that Erin Calvert is planning to send you several updates pertaining to the public safety and justice portfolio. One will include a juvenile department's technical assistance grant from RFK, information on a survey that our very own law librarian, Amy Gregory, completed in partnership with Lane County Law Librarian. That's a lot of L's in one short period, to review law library services throughout the state of Oregon and hopefully improve access to justice for all Oregonians. More information and a link to the survey document will be provided in the email update to the board. And finally, our work continues on the jail and community corrections expansion study, and Erin will be providing you an update on the status of the project, why the report from our consultants matrix is taking longer than originally anticipated, and when the team will be able to adjust the project timeline and return to your board with more information. So look for those 3 updates midday, and Aaron Calvert is available for any follow-up on those items.
I appreciate your putting weather on my radar, so to speak, so that for our roundtable on Thursday morning, I just take my laptop home Wednesday night just in case. So, yeah, we'll see.
And I would just encourage commissioners to consider always taking your laptop because we never know when emergencies of wide variety could actually impact us. This morning, I sent your board an email sharing that yesterday we held an all-employee session regarding the impact of recent federal actions and executive orders. This meeting, we purposely did not have a virtual option and chose to have in person only. We held the meeting at Washington Street Conference Center. It was wall-to-wall employees, including employees out in the hallway, much higher than anticipated attendance. So the topics that we covered included status of the recent freeze, now pending due to litigation on federal grants, and navigating the potential future loss of federal funding. Guidance on dealing with federal agents in the event of on-site immigration enforcement activities, and then resources to support employees during these and other difficult challenges as we continue to navigate. We did run out of time during the session, so we're continuing to collect questions from employees. We are compiling that in an FAQ that we will then post on our website. In addition, there will be another supplemental in addition to the links that were in the email that I sent you, which is resources that are approved through county council review to hand out to community members. And that was one of really top of mind questions that we have heard, both consistent with our session with CBO executive directors and community, like what are the resources that we can send out? And I believe County Council will also be sending the board an update on that later today. And that concludes my update.
You're doing great work. Thank you.
Good morning, or yes, afternoon, Chair Harrington and commissioners. Just to follow up on what Miss Angie said, I did want to specifically thank Kim Stewart and Elmer Dickens, who have been doing the really heavy lifting on the enforcement, ICE enforcement questions that we're getting in response to actions out of the federal government, and how those things pertain to us, especially in light of Oregon's Sanctuary Promise Act law, which has been in fact since 2021. So just giving those reminders, giving the facts, and keeping the information and delivering the information in a way that's useful to our employees. So I wanted to call them out and thank them. In addition to that work, we do continue to monitor the various actions out of DC, and keeping up with the various legal actions are coming fast and fierce. So we're continuing to monitor that and how it impacts our work here at Washington County. The other thing I just want to update your board is, as you know, Rob Bovet is leaving for Lane County. His last day is actually Friday, but he is taking some earned vacation time between now and then. So we are deep in the transition of making sure that we are carrying the legal work of our various county departments and making sure all the legal needs are met. We also this week, it's a big week for County Council and continue transition. Our longtime management analyst is entering her retirement, hard-earned retirement. So we are also at the same time working on making sure that work that helps us, zip and zing is in place and covered. So I worked with the departments that are department directors that were primarily represented by Rob in County General Counsel. And so we'll be working through that transition in the next couple of weeks. That's it for me.
Thank you. Thank you. Diane.
Morning. Thank you, Chair Harrington and Board of Clean Water Services. We really appreciate the time that the board spent with us last Friday at the Durham Resource Recovery Facility, and the team is actively working on follow-up actions at that meeting. Last week, Thursday and Saturday, we hosted around 20 elected officials at Clean Water Essentials and CWAC members and also county staff attended. It was well attended. And thank you, Chair Harrington, for welcoming the attendees and really fostering the communication that we needed to have. So thank you very much.
Well, Thursday night, there was a great array of attendees each Thursday night and Saturday. But Thursday night, boy, that group of folks, they were on it with questions. Saturday, it was much more stoic, which was hard for me after experiencing Thursday night. It was so interactive Thursday night, I thought.
Yeah, you really broke the ice, I think, on Saturday and
Right.
asked for questions. So thank you all very much. Like the county, we're watching the weather closely and making our preparations, and the crews are ready to handle whatever Mother Nature may throw our way this next few days. Thank you, board.
Cool. Great. All righty. I think that's it for now. And then we'll pick up at 1 o'clock. We have two outside presenters joining us at 1 o'clock. So being prompt would be greatly appreciated. Terrific. Thank you very much.
And speaking of being prompt, I apologize for being late. So
Oh, worries,
Sure you
things
had a good
happen.
reason.
I did.
Yes, she did. She did the right thing. Onward, ho we go. Thank you.